Hello there, my name is Marcelle on behalf of Asserting, and I'm here today to talk to you about Mercury Retrograde, which is happening on the 27th of September all the way through to the 18th of October. So before I dive into this, I'd like to ask, please, if you enjoy our content, to like and subscribe to our channel. And then at the end of each astrological update, I give a tarot reading that gives more information on behalf of the collective as to what's playing out during this period. Okay, so the Mercury retrograde starts, as I mentioned, on the 27th of September and goes all the way through to the 18th of October. It stations retrograde at 25 degrees of Libra, and it goes all the way through till 10 degrees of Libra, going backwards. So how the retrograde motion works is that we have the shadow period on either side of the retrograde. So we start going into the shadow period on the 6th of September, all the way through to the 27th of September, when we then go retrograde. And we go all the way through to the 18th of October in retrograde motion, going backwards. When we when Mercury stations, it comes to a stop and then it starts going forward again. And so that last period, that last shadow period, it's more of an integration period. So we can already start feeling the effects of what this Mercury retrograde is going to be in terms of communication, our thinking, and also themes around transport, also technology, starting to indicate where things could be going wrong during this period. So it is in Libra. Libra is an air cardinal sign, and it's very much about balancing the scales, and it has a strong diplomatic quality to it. It's much more socially orientated. It's the first sign out of all the signs coming out of the lower half of the first 6 signs and then moving into Libra that involves the other. So the first 6 signs are very much our own inner interaction. And then when we move into Libra, we start incorporating the other, and it becomes more about how it is that we can interact with the other in a harmonious social manner that serves both our needs as opposed to just our own needs. So Libra is very much about balancing the scales. It's very much about diplomacy. It's very much about gathering all the information before making decisions, before weighing out the odds. And it's about listening. It's really listening to what the other has to say. So these are themes that we're leading to incorporate into our lives during this period. And that's what this retrograde is wanting us to learn. So when the planet Mercury, which is the planet of communication and how we process information, how we think it's connected to our lower minds, when it starts moving backwards, it's really calling us to reflect on our interactions with others in Libra, our diplomacy around how we interact with others, and the fairness that we bring to the equation, how much we are able to listen to and consider the other in our decision making. So while Libra is about the other, it's also about learning healthy assertion. That's one of the downfalls of Libra. It's the challenge with being assertive. The opposite of Libra is Aries, which is all about assertion but not enough diplomacy. And so that's how these two potentially balance each other out. So with Libra, we are needing to learn healthy assertion whilst weighing the odds between us and them and coming to a more harmonious diplomatic agreement. So there are some things that have been set in motion with this retrograde. So on the 20th of September, we have the Pisces full moon. And in this full moon, we are really exploring themes around work or direction, drive, focus versus freedom and going with the flow. So we are needing to learn a healthier balance between those two qualities, the Virgo-Pisces axis. Alongside this, we have Mercury setting up the theme that's going to be playing out for us during this retrograde. Mercury comes into a trine with Jupiter, which is a very harmonious, expansive, positive trine. Jupiter wants to expand Mercury, our planet of communication, our minds. However, we also have this coming into a square with Pluto. Mercury comes into a square with Pluto and a sextile between Pluto and Jupiter. So there's an exact trine between Jupiter and Mercury, which makes it the stronger aspect. The square between Mercury and Pluto is not exact. So we are being challenged with stuff coming from the subconscious to the surface, because that Pluto wants to dig up things within our psyche and bring it to the surface to be explored during the retrograde season, the Mercury retrograde season. So what's going to happen is whatever we're needing to work with, we're going to be meeting that around the full moon, and then it's going to come into form to be worked through during the retrograde season. So alongside Mercury in Libra, we also have the Sun in Libra, as well as Mars. And so it's a very powerful Libran energy, which means we may experience more social interaction. We may be hanging out with people more. It's now about us and them. So the first 6 signs are very much more solo. It's more internal. It's processing our own stuff. But now we're moving into Libra season, so we're becoming much more socially orientated and interactive. A lot more recreation, a lot more conversations with others, hanging out with more people. So we do have a lot of supportive aspects that are playing out during this Mercury retrograde. And the most important one to mention on the 9th of October is a conjunction between the Sun and Mercury. So the Sun is moving direct, Mercury is moving retrograde. Mercury moving retrograde, both in Libra. Mercury moving retrograde is a reflecting on our values around the other and how it is that we interact with them. The Sun in Libra moving forward brings and infuses us with more information around how that should look. It brings inspiration, it brings this charge, this energy, learning how to assert better in a healthier manner. Okay, so now that we've got that covered, I have got the 4 questions that we're going to be exploring with the tarot reading. So the first question is, and I've got the cards over here, so I'm starting to shuffle on behalf of the collective. And this is a tarot reading for Mercury retrograde in Libra on behalf of the collective. This is a tarot reading for Mercury retrograde in Libra on behalf of the collective. All right. So the first question is, what is Mercury retrograde wanting me to reflect on? The next question is, where am I needing more diplomacy in my life? The third question is, where am I needing to assert myself better? And lastly, what changes can I anticipate upon the completion of the Mercury retrograde? Okay, just picking up a card that's fallen down. Okay, so we've got 2 cards that have already fallen out, Strength and Ace of Wands. And the Strength card is about looking inwards and finding the inner strength to master our demons, to acknowledge aspects of ourselves that are needing reworking. And it takes strength to be able to look inside and take responsibility for that. And then we have the Ace of Wands, which is talking about new creative beginnings. So the changes that can come our way once we have allowed ourselves to go inwards and acknowledge those more shadow aspects of our personality are rewarded with changes in our lives that are productive and spontaneous and creative. So what is the theme? I feel that represents the theme of the reading. So the first question is, what is Mercury retrograde wanting me to reflect on? What is Mercury retrograde in Libra wanting me to reflect on? Okay. The next question is, where am I needing more diplomacy in my life? Where am I needing more diplomacy in my life? Okay. Third question is, where am I needing to assert myself better? Where am I needing to assert myself better? And then the last question is, what changes can I anticipate upon the completion of the Mercury retrograde? All right. Okay, so what is Mercury retrograde wanting me to reflect on? And we have the Eight of Pentacles. And this is a card of mastery, of apprenticeship, of working hard towards something. It is ruled by Pentacles, which has to do with finances, resources. It's an earth sign, so there's a grounding quality to taking our goals from A to B through the hard work and consistency of applying ourselves to that goal. So Mercury retrograde in Libra is wanting us to reflect on how it is that we're achieving our goals. What is the energy and the time and the work that we're putting into it? So I feel that this is a theme that comes up in the full moon in Pisces on the 20th of September. It's very much about work and the energy that we put into that versus the play, the not working, the allowing ourselves time and space to not focus on work and just to, so it's finding a healthy balance between the Virgo Pisces energies. And so the Mercury retrograde is wanting me to reflect on how it is that I achieve things in my life. So where am I needing more diplomacy? And we have the Tower card. Okay. And so the Tower card is a card of shock and disruption. It's very much, for me, I relate it very much to Uranus. It's fast, it's quick, it blows things up and it burns things down to the ground. And it wants liberation, it wants to crack things open inside of you. It's not a comfortable process. The diplomacy, the Libran way, is not about, in terms of these crisis moments that may come in our lives, often involving the other. It's about learning to hold it better. It's about learning to navigate it better in such a way that the whole situation doesn't crash and burn, but can be worked through amicably when these crisis situations do arise. It's also about holding ourselves with calmness and weighing out all the facts before making decisions. And really considering the bigger picture before making decisions on how to engage the situation. This is the Libran way, and this is the diplomatic way to manage in crisis situations. So the next question is, where am I needing to assert myself more? And we have the Queen of Wands. And so the Queen of Wands is, she's a fiery goddess, creative, ambitious, playful, charismatic, and she's very much focused on her goals. But she's not outwardly, she's not, the King of Wands is very much about the very vocal, verbal, direct manner of expression. She carries that fire inside of her. She's more the feminine, intuitive, holding space process, but silently moves towards the goal. So silently is the wrong word, because she's definitely a fiery, charismatic person, but she's not someone that backs down, but she's also not someone that is overtly aggressive or direct in her manner of how she goes about things. So where you are needing to assert yourself more is through the process of taking action and standing up for what is right for you, and focusing on where it is that you want to go, but also finding more creative ways of going about it that can take you from A to B in such a way that it is supporting a healthier, bigger picture. So there's a creative transformation that is needing to happen with this assertion. It's a confidence, it's an inner confidence that comes with the Queen of Wands. What changes can I anticipate upon the completion of Mercury retrograde? And we have the Queen of Cups. So I feel like there's some kind of emotional release that is needing to happen. The Queen of Cups is the complete opposite energy. Well, it's a different energy to the Queen of Wands. The Cups rules emotions, it rules feelings, sensitivity, intuition. And so there's a mastery of that that's needing to happen in all of us. And the best way to go through that is to unravel and unpack the rigidity within ourselves. This is where the Strength card comes in, needing to unpack the rigidity within ourselves, the stuckness within ourselves, in order to flow better with our emotions. So there's potentially an emotional breakthrough that's needing to come through that is going to be cracked as a result of this process. So it can potentially be an intense process. We do have this Pluto in the mix, and whenever Pluto is there, we know that something karmic is being worked through during this retrograde period. And it's all to do with where it is that we are able to start seeing the other and working with the other in order to achieve our goals. This mutual consideration to get from A to B as opposed to our self-serving interests only. Alongside the need to diplomatically manage the chaos when it happens with confidence and a healthy assertion and drive forward. So I do wish you all the best for this journey. For me, the Queen of Cups at the end of all of this, for me, that's a very positive card to end with, because it shows that something is cracking within ourselves. There's a breakthrough that's happening. You know, when we're operating in quite a rigid manner, we're not able to manage the situation more fluidly because of the rigidity within our systems that are not allowing us to consider the other. And this is a form of protection. So once whatever it is that's holding that protection in place gets hit hard, especially by the Tower card during this journey of the Mercury going retrograde and coming into tension with Pluto, bringing all of our karmic stuff to the surface, only once we get hit hard by that can something start dissolving and we can start accessing the heart, because Libra is ruled by Venus and it's very much connected to the heart. And that's when we can start interacting in these processes with others from a more heart-centered space, as opposed to from the rigidity of our wounding. So I hope that resonated, and I wish you all the best with this journey. And again, if you do like our content, please do like and subscribe to our channel. I also need to mention that it's very helpful to check out to see where in your chart 10 degrees of Libra to 25 degrees of Libra lies, because this is the area that's going to be impacted, especially if you have signs in that area. Those signs will be greatly impacted as well. Also check to see which house it is. That is the theme of the area that's going to be playing out. So for instance, 4th house has to do with home and 10th house has to do with career. So themes around career are needing to be reflected on during this Libra season, and how it is that you're able to interact diplomatically with others. So thank you so much for your time, and I'm wishing you all the best. Bye for now.